Hi, this is Michael. Again, it is Saturday, September the 28th of 2013. It is the only Saturday, 28th of September 2013, that we will ever see. For some person, hopefully not me, hopefully not you, but some person on this galaxy, planet, floating about within 9 other planets within our solar system, within our galaxy. This planet is Earth. For some people, this will be the last day they ever see. Someone just died as I spoke that statement. Can you believe that? You ever think about how valuable each second is? Coming from my heritage, being part European, being Irish, Scottish, German, and then Cherokee, which would be Native North American, they were known to be the principal people. And a lot of the qualities that they embraced involved balance of pros and cons, hot and cold, good and evil, long before the concept of devil and Christ ever entered the soil of the Atlantic coast. So, as I'm on the California coast, and I went to several colleges, I'm thinking, what is wrong? Maybe, just maybe, if I look up the word ethic. Do you know what an ethic is? E-T-H-I-C, and not a tick. A tick is another word for crystal meth, which is so prominent in downtown Long Beach that it's insane. It's just another word for an illegal substance that makes people overly active sexually and act crazy and become obsessively focused on things. And it's highly addictive and highly bad for your health. But that's a tick. And it's also called Tina. It's got all these names. I'm learning these things, and you would be surprised at the people that are actively have used these things from church, probably up into the political level. I know factually people in our church have participated in such things. Nonetheless, an ethic, that's what we're going to focus on. An ethic is absolutely nothing to do with the drug. It involves making a choice to say no. An ethic, it's like a moral, but I'll give you Wikipedia's definition of ethic because it's not here. The ethic is like, in California, the ethic was get to the gold and deliver it back, and you will have land, and you can start a crop out in the desert if you survive. It's not the Bible Belt, which is where I came from, which the Bible is pure ethics from another continent, and they're not always perfect, and some of them are unbelievable, but an ethic comes with the judiciary scales that the Bible have, but the Cherokee people also had their own version of ethics. So, an ethic, for those of you who do not know, on this Saturday, 28th of September, 2013, an ethic is also known as a moral philosophy. It is a branch of philosophy that involves systematizing, defending, and recommending concepts of right and wrong conduct. The term comes from the Greek word ethos, which means character. Can you believe that? The word ethic comes from the Greek word ethos, E-T-O-S, E-T-H-O-S, forgive me, which means character. Now, ethics is a complement to aestheticians. I was going to say aestheticians, but it's a complement to aesthetics in the philosophy field of axiology. In philosophy, ethics studies the moral behavior in humans, and whether you believe humans derived from monkeys who had a minimal amount of ethics, which I do not. That's what anthropology teaches. That's what you pay to learn, and it's what your children are paying anthropology teachers to be taught. I don't believe in that. In philosophy, ethics studies the moral behavior of humans and how one should act. Ethics may be divided into 4 major areas of study. One is meta-ethics. It's spelled M-E-T-A, ethics. And it's about the theoretical meaning and reference of moral propositions and how their truth values, if any, may be determined. The second one is normative ethics, N-O-R-M-A-T-I-V-E, normative ethics. Normative ethics are about the practical means of determining a moral course of action. Number 4 is applied ethics. Applied ethics is about how moral outcomes can be achieved in specific situations. For example, how did the Donner Party survive on the wagon? They were cannibals, and they ate each other. They didn't value, their values were severely warped because someone said, this stone that is the color of gold, that's also the color of fool's gold, is so valuable that you can purchase land with it on a continent that doesn't even belong to the language that's being spoken to tell you to go get it. Ethics, you decide. The fourth one of the meta-ethics, normative ethics, applied ethics, is descriptive ethics. Descriptive ethics are also known as comparative ethics, and is the study of people's beliefs about morality. Ethics seeks to resolve questions dealing with human morality, concepts such as good and evil, right and wrong, virtue and vice, justice and crime. And again, I'm reading this from Wikipedia, ethics, E-T-H-I-C. Anyone can read this. It has a great deal of content, and it goes into great detail. For example, each one of the 4 types of ethics, which would have been normative ethics, meta-ethics, modern normative ethics, and applied ethics, is broken down into subdivisions. And some of those words that you might read would be hedonism, and that's not ethical at all. That's anything that feels good, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Which would be like gluttony, vanity, lots of sex, orgies. That's hedonism. Deontology, I don't know what that is, but we will see. And that's under modern normative ethics. Deontology. Deontological ethics, or deontology, it comes from the Greek. Deon means obligation or duty. And it's an approach to ethics that determines goodness or rightness from examining acts, the rules and duties that the person doing the act strove to fulfill. This is in the contrast to consequentialism, in which rightness is based on the consequences of an act and not the act itself. Example, I gave the gold rush, and you can look at religions, and if you want to think about Jesus as an ethical person, was society ethical to let an innocent man who was a teacher, if nothing else, you have to believe that he was a teacher or a speaker, they let him die for all of their sins? Is that ethical? Does that seem logical? One man should die for millions and millions and millions and people that haven't even been born yet? Is that ethical to you? Is that ethical to you? Consequentialism, of course, is the opposite of not believing that he did, is hell. And then what is hell? If hell doesn't have enough value on it in your mind, and if heaven doesn't have enough value, if that angel over here and that little devil in your subconscious, if it's not ruling, as you speak with your tongue and with your logic board and with your memories and with what your parents taught you, then we're having a consequential issue, which is why it's becoming in good way trust instead of in God way trust. In good, you understand? In God we trust, in good way trust. There's so many people that haven't mastered English that are teaching government colleges that are being paid money, that the money is losing all value, and it should be better pronounced in good waitress instead of in God waitress, especially in Obama's nation. According to deontology, we have a duty to act in a way that does those things that are inherently good as acts. Truth-telling, for example, or follow an objectively obligatory rule as a rule utilitarianism. For deontologists, the ends or consequences of our actions are not important in and of themselves, and our intentions are not important in and of themselves, according to deontology, which again is stemmed from the Greek word deon, which means obligation or duty. So we said we don't know what is deontology. It's named after a Greek term. If you continue on under ethics in Wikipedia, you will find more and more and more details. You'll find that there's a such thing as an anti-humanist. Did you know there was a such thing in this world as an anti-humanist? such as Louis Althusser and Michel Foucault, and it's spelled Foucault. My pronunciation may not be proper. Michel Foucault and structuralists such as Roland Barthes challenged the possibilities of individual agency and the coherence of the notion of the individual itself. As critical theory developed in the later 20th century, post-structuralism sought to problematize human relationships to knowledge and objective reality. Jacques Derrida, D-R-R-I-D-A, argued that access to meaning and the real was always deferred, and sought to demonstrate via recourse to the linguistic realm that there is nothing outside of context. Unfortunately, il n'y a pas de hors texte. That is French, and I do speak French un peut-être, so let me try that one again. Unfortunately, il n'y a pas de hors texte is often mistranslated as there is nothing outside of the text. At the same time, Jean Baudrillard theorized that signs and symbols, or simulacra, and I used that pronunciation wrong, I'm sorry, or simulacra, I'm not pronouncing that right, it doesn't matter. Signs and symbols, or S-I-M-U-L-A-C-R-A, mask reality, and eventually the absence of reality itself, particularly in the consumer world. I'm going to stop there and think about colors and fashion. Colors, by Mother Nature's standard, when a person's hair turns gray, that means they're getting ready to enter, their body's getting ready to enter the soil or the inferno if you choose to have your body burned. And your soul's going to go wherever you believe. If you believe it's going to go into the Buddhist realm called nirvana, if you're that blessed, or if you believe it's going to go into the Christian heaven, or if you believe it's going to go into the Wiccan eternal peace, the portal of the sun and the moon between the unseen. Whatever you believe about your soul, that is what color is really about. When your hair turns gray, that's a sign that you're getting ready to enter the next world. Gray, the gray shirt, that's just a fashion statement. It doesn't mean anything today. Teams use colors to differentiate things, but these colors also are of the 7 great continents. They originate in a specific place, and they're a sign of this belongs here from its original placement within like God's almighty hand. They just happen to be there. So therefore, till your garden. And when you look at U.S. history and world history, you see wars and how Hitler comes to take over the land of these people and forces them into religious obedience in order to take their land, and because he has a complex in his mind which says that you will obey me, and he also used a lot of awful drugs. Nonetheless, think about those things. When the leaves change color, when they turn orange, it's fall. It's getting ready to get cold. And that is a universal truth, no matter where you go in the whole world. When you see white on the ground, and it's not sand from the beach, it's likely snow. It's cold. Those concepts go together. All these other colors that you put on top of yourself, and badges and letterings, that's a different reality. That's being in the world and in it, not only in it, but being of it and participating the world's game. There's 2 different games, but there's a logic, and there's a God, and there's a sun, and there's a soul, and it's huge. And you know where you come from. As I reach towards my groin and I recall my mother, you know where you come from, and you know your priorities, and you know there's 26 letters in the alphabet, and there's about 8 primary colors. You can mix them up as much as you want to, but a lot of bloodshed, and it was done for gold, or some derivative of gold, which was natural to each and every continent. They had their own sources of wealth. So, ethics, and I'm going to be careful because people died for religion and killed for it, and I'm not going to be one of those people. Ethics, E-T-H-I-C-S, and I'm not the most ethical person in the world. E-T-H-I-C-S. In Wikipedia, look it up and enjoy the read and realize that there were anti-humanists and I'm not sure that they're referring to homosexuals or pro-choice people. There's something else there, so get into that. Wonder, what's an anti-humanist? Was Hitler an anti-humanist? If you keep reading, there's lots of interesting bioethics, geoethics, business ethics, machine ethics, military ethics, political ethics, public sector ethics, moral psychology. Have a good day. This is Michael checking out in 15-minute conversation. That's a long time. Blessed be. Have a great day. Bye-bye.